And joining me now is real-life astronaut and author Mike Massimino to discuss the launch of SpaceX Live. Mike!
Hello, Jeff. Very nice to talk to you today. Thank you for having me.
So Mike, this is the first time America is launching astronauts from Florida. What took so long?
Going to space isn't easy, Jeff. It's not as easy as it looks. This has been in the works for a while. When we retired the space shuttle, we had an accident in 2003, was the second accident, and we said, well, we're just going to be able to do a few more flights, and we need another vehicle to get to space. So then the question was, how do you do that? And NASA had felt that some of the private companies like SpaceX and other companies had come a long way in being able to do things on their own to promote privatization of space travel. And so NASA partnered with a few companies. SpaceX and Boeing in particular were the winners for this first phase of launching people into space. And you want to get it right. Is a lot different, Jeff, flying a person into space than a satellite. Of course, you don't want anything to happen to the satellite or an experiment that might be flying. But when you put people on a spaceship, you really want to make sure you get it right. And that's what this is all about. And that's why it took a little bit longer than maybe people would have liked, but really not that much longer. We're not really that far behind. And people will remember a successful launch. And they won't remember the delay as much as they'll remember an accident. So you want to get it right. And so we took the time, NASA took the time to make sure we get it right. And that day's come. Before you know it, it'll happen and we'll be moving onward. So it's very exciting stuff.
And it's being launched from Pad 39A, the launch pad for the Apollo missions and the space shuttle launches. So that's got to be good luck.
Yeah, I think so. It was the same launch pad I used twice. So that's very historic. They've changed it a lot. It looks like it's modern day space age now. It looks a lot different than when we used it with the shuttle and when the guys used it back in the Apollo days. They redesigned it for this modern SpaceX launch. They're going to be going out to the launch pad in Teslas, which is kind of interesting too. Instead of the Airstream astronaut van we used to use to get out there, which I kind of liked. But so this is really a modern. Even if spacesuits look different too, if you've seen those, the whole bit. It's part of our show on Wednesday is going to be the story behind all those things, the insights to what this means, and the changes that have taken place in the space program. And it's really the dawning of a new era. This is quite a different thing. Not just it's been a while since we launched from the U.S., but also this private company doing it and handling the launch operations. The first time we've let anyone do that with people on board. So this is a whole new way of doing things and opens up lots of possibilities.
Now, Mike, I talked to astronaut Jerry Linenger, and we discussed about taking Tang into orbit. So is it a beloved drink among astronauts?
Oh, I took it. Jerry's a very good friend of mine. I was also involved in that documentary, but I don't think you asked me that question. Well, one interesting thing is that we can't call the items we have with the government program. You're not allowed to do any advertising or show favoritism toward a product. So it wasn't called Tang. It was called orange flavored drink, but it was actually the Tang product that was inside the drink bag. So I don't know. You should ask him next time if he had orange flavored drink. Because if he did, that was Tang.
Now, Jerry, I'm Generation X, so I have to ask this, because I was a little kid, I drank a lot of Tang. And we always thought that is what the astronauts took to the moon, was Tang. Did you take Tang with you anytime you were up in space?
Tang in space, the old Apollo guy, John Young, I used to have dinner with him. He drove the rover on the moon and flew a couple of Gemini flights and 2 shuttle flights. The astronaut's astronaut. John told me when they first drank Tang up there, a guy got space motion sickness, which happens to about half the astronauts' first day and a half, and immediately it did not settle, let's just put it that way. And after that, no astronaut would drink Tang after that. So there's still a kind of a bug juice orange thing that I drank up there, and it was just fine. But the Tang thing didn't catch on early on as the advertisements made it look.
Now, Mike, I think the launch of SpaceX Live is getting America back to innovation. It's an exploration. This is a real shot in the arm for America.
I think so, and I think it's not just us, and we're working with a lot of other partners as well. But I do think the United States has been a leader in a lot of ways for the world, and in a lot of positive ways. And the space program is certainly one of those. I think that this is also a source of inspiration, and this is a really good story at a time where we're all dealing with difficult times. It really is, and it's the pandemic, the health issues, but also the effects on the economy and people's jobs and how are we going to recover from this? We will recover from this. And I think that this is an example of what we can do when we stick together, teamwork, and put our minds to it. So I really think this is coming at the right time. It won't be able to be there in person. A lot of people would go to this launch. Thousands and thousands would go in person to watch. We're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be allowed on the Kennedy Space Center like we would in other times. So that's a disappointment. But I do think that having it at this time during this sheltering in place that we're doing and overcoming this pandemic, I think this comes at the perfectly right time. And I think we're going to try to show a lot of inspiration, not just to launch on our program, but again, the backstory and the perseverance that it took to get there. And I think that's a positive story that hopefully will be a source of inspiration to help us as we're struggling through this epidemic we're battling with. Hey, I love Vegas, man. I had a friend's birthday party that in July that was canceled. My friend of mine was having a very historic birthday, and we were all going out there. It was going to be fun, and that's not happening now. So hopefully we'll get out there when it clears up, though.